Hello, welcome to Flooring Models Daily Vlogs. Here we are, Monday morning, another busy week. To be honest, this week's going to be quite nice because it's literally just a case of pushing on. I've got nothing planned, I'm not going anywhere, I'm not particularly doing anything, so I can actually get back on the bench and push forward. And to be honest, I've got quite a few little exciting projects that I've been working out over the weekend. Some various things I've been thinking about, some little changes and tweaks and things that actually I'm really excited about. It's been nice this weekend because we had the live show obviously on Saturday. Big thanks to obviously Steve and everybody joined in with us. And I came away from that and had sort of an afternoon sorting things out, various bits and pieces. And it's one of those weird things where you're thinking, I'd like to do that, I'd like to do this, I'd like to do the other. And I'm quite excited now. I've sort of got the mojo back about things. Things are getting quite stale with the aircraft that I've been working on with the actual 190 because it's just taken too long. I hate being in that type of thing. So I've come out with a few little things that you're going to find out about over the next few weeks that hopefully again going to keep us moving along that little ladder. One thing I did want to point out, I know a lot of you saw this on my Facebook, it's hard to believe that actually we've been in this studio 4 years. So this photo here, which obviously I'll put up a proper one on the screen, but that is how the studio used to look, okay, when we moved in. So actually, the weird thing is, it's like 4 years today since we started filming in this actual studio. We, as you might know, we used to be over in Torquay. We had a very small room, which was the same area as this, okay, and from that I came from a 6x5 box room before that, and it's amazing how the company, we've grown over the last few years. Over the last 4 years, you think we've got this studio here, we've got another office above us, as a lot of you know, the shed's full up, used to have a storage unit as well, which we don't have anymore, but you know, it's full of junk as well and all the bits and pieces. But it's amazing how quickly things get cluttered up and everything else like that, and the studio, to be honest, is a tip, and I would love for it to get back like that. I loved being clean. It was nice just to be able to walk around and do things. So I might actually next weekend really gut this, and when I mean gut it, if the weather plays ball, which apparently it is, I might just stick everything out there on the deck area, completely scrub and clean everything down, and just bring back in what I need, and then have a little bit of a sort out of all my tools and various equipment, because I think we're all guilty of it, where you buy tools and you get things in, you never use them. But I've got drawers and drawers and drawers of them lying around here, and I can't find anything. So I really need to have a good thing. And I know this seems to be a repetitive thing because I've said about it before, and here we are again saying about it again and everything else like that. But it's something that I really don't like, having the clutter. I come in here and it's like, oh God, I really should do it. I never get around to it because I said about chasing my tail. But hopefully this week, what's going to happen is I'm going to be pushing on really nicely, going to get nice ahead, get a couple of videos down in and ready to go and everything else like that. And we can really get on with it. One thing I do have to say, I have just spent, how much did I actually spend? Let's actually see how much we actually spent in here. There we go, we just spent 156 euros on paint. So we've actually bought a load of Mr. Paint stuff. To be honest, I've got mainly Russian colours, because Russian colours do tend to be that thing where I don't think any of the paint manufacturers, the mainstream ones like Vallejo, Tamiya and Guns, have really got it embraced. Obviously Acan paints or Acan paints, we've got theirs, but we wanted to have a go with these. Everybody has said they're brilliant. Hans was telling me again last week, because obviously we saw them at the Nationals, you've got to get them, you need to get them in, you need to get them tested. I know a lot of you guys have used them and absolutely love them. So I've spent best part of 160 euros now getting this stuff in, so it better work. Obviously I've got a set for Steve as well, because Steve's going to be planning on doing the Sea Flanker, so I've got him a set coming in as well, which I'll send out to him so you can hear his review on it as well as mine, bits and pieces like that. But I was talking to Matt this morning and over the weekend as well, and he absolutely loves this stuff. So right, okay, I've done it, I've bought it. So we'll see how long it takes, because literally I've ordered it not just before I turn the camera on, okay? So that'd be quite interesting to see exactly how that goes on. But as I said, hopefully they'll be here really soon. As soon as they land, we'll clear the deck, get everything sorted. I might chuck something together as well quite quickly, perhaps one of those 1/72 flankers, just to then we can put the paint down and see exactly how it works and everything else like that. So, a couple of things for today. First of all, obviously there's that nice picture. And then this is how the studio looks today. Oh, the other thing I was going to mention, everyone keeps asking about it. Yes, the HTC Vive thing, I will put up today. I'm going to do a short little video about my thoughts about it a little bit more, and then you can hear, obviously, my final things. But needless to say, I had some people around this weekend and everything else. They've had a go on it. They're all suitably impressed. So, what am I doing down here? As you can see, last night I had a couple of hours free, so I decided to have a little bit of a weathering. Just playing a little bit. You might notice this is all perfect and done and everything. This is ready for more paint, which to be honest can go over here. I sprayed up the canopy last night, so that's done as well. That's ready to go down. But you notice it's got a few oils around, so we get a little bit of an oil wash down in here so that can have a buff. And then what we were actually doing, we've actually been doing these, okay? So we've done some of the gear, so it's all ready. To be honest, we've weathered and done some streaking work and some various bits and pieces on the flaps because they're all painted. I went round, I don't know how well the camera will pick these out, but we've just given these a little bit of a wash as well, just around, just in those, so they're all completed and done. Okay, so that's the thing with that. So plans for today, really this morning, is I want to physically finish off that little bit of video we did. So I'm going to do a tiny little bit more, just the camera, just to talk about the computer, the HTC Vive, what I think about it, and all the bits and pieces. I know a lot of you asked me about it when we did the live show on Saturday. I'll do that. That will go up with you today. That will enable me now to have a nice run through for the next 3 days, working solely on the aircraft. Okay, so that will enable me this afternoon to really push on. I can get the next couple of coats of paint on there, do that, then we can get that edited up for you on Wednesday. But to be honest, by the end of the week, this should be done. Fingers crossed. I say I've got a good full week on it. I'm going to spend literally a good run through on that. Got some good kit reviews for you coming at the end of the week, but I can slip them in amongst it. So really, the aircraft is going to really push on. We can get the armour, which is going to say is something else. I've got a couple of little ideas, little fancy ideas for that on that one to show you. So I really want to push on with that one, and then we get going with the other stuff. But say this week is going to be purely focused on getting time on the bench, which I haven't been able to do for literally the last 3 weeks. So I'm going to spend all my time sat here filming, working, getting back to do what we do best and everything else like that. And obviously I'll vlog along with you guys as we make our way through. So first up, I'm going to do the next little bit for the HTC, get that edited. That can go up with you this afternoon. You'll see that around about 3 o'clock up on the main site, and then it will make its way out to social media and all the bits and pieces by about 7 o'clock tonight when we do the full show. So there we go. Here we go. Okay, so not a bad morning's work. Up on the site now is the review about the computer, the HTC, and all the bits and pieces. Now, for some reason, being a complete muppet, probably to do with computer things and various things like it, I've managed to delete the original footage from the first one, and when you try and splice the two together, one's in 720, one's in 1080, so I've done it in 2 parts, so you both got the best resolution, and there's Mel having a go on that one. Well worth it just to watch that. Okay, so what have I been up to this morning? To be honest, we've been spraying, as we said. So we've got the 190. To be honest, it was one of those things where, in hindsight, I painted it in the wrong order. So as you can see down here, if I do an over the top, you can probably get an idea. We've done a very simple way. If you ever want to know about doing blotchy paintwork, just look at that one. It's a 2-minute job. You know me, I always do things the easy route, but if you've ever wanted to get that sort of mottily weathered look, that's how you do it. Honestly, watch the video, it's a piece of cake. But you might notice I've gone right over, we've got overspray over the tails, over the wings. What I am literally just about to do is mask the tops of the wings, repaint those all in with the blue. Then I'm going to mottle the blue in just to give it some depth, and then what we're actually going to do is do the actual proper mottly paintwork all over it and everything else. But what I did forget in my haste was to put bits like this on. So this is on now and it's been painted. These front ones, they've all gone on there now and everything else like that. And we have actually done the cockpit. This is the true cockpit. Don't take any notice of the one that's on there. And to be honest, look, you see how well those fit? I could switch fingers, see how well those fit? That's because I've used the correct mask set now. Yes, I did have the wrong mask set on there. And as you can see, these fit beautifully with no problem at all, as opposed to when I tried it the first time. Yes, I am a muppet. All right, so that is going to fit all together. I don't know if I can do this one-handed. I can try. Can't get the pins in the far side. Get it in there. No, I can't quite get the pins to drop in. And for this to come up, but generally it's going to fit in. Come on, there we go, something like that. Okay, so that's how that's gonna all fit in on the front end and how it's going to be. Obviously the engine will go in there. I'm going to have mine literally just like that with the panels drawn open. I'm not going to take apart the entire front end to show off all the engine, although I think it'll be lovely and everything else. I think it's a little bit of a step too far. So that's what we're doing. So we've done the camo work, the bits and pieces. I'm just now, to be honest, I was waiting for it to dry. Going to redo that, do the tops of those wings, get them masked, do the swirly line along the front here with the blue, because obviously that's why we've got it all in. So I'm going to do a quick mask job along the front, just to give it the swirly pattern. Okay, mask off the top of those, put the blue in, going to go back in, mottle the blue. Again, we're going to be using buff as my sort of, you know, thinner colour to give the mottly effect, and then we can actually get in there with proper mottling right the way through on this to actually give it some depth. We've also done as well, it's laying over here, is this guy here, which is obviously is going to fit on the front, well, the other way around. That's going to go on there, and what I'm going to do is completely repaint these up once it's in. Again, hindsight, should have done it that way in the first place. Instead of messing around with painting it and detailing it, it was easier just to put it all in one and pick it out by hand, which is something I've learnt many times over the last few months of doing this. And now I'm literally into that position of thinking, right, in future, I'm going to build things more as a whole, then going to hand paint and detail afterwards, instead of messing around with doing separate parts and all the rest of it. Yes, it looked great for doing it from this point of view because it gave us the ability to show you in depth how I'd paint and weather things, but as you can see, they all need redoing now. It's in there, but hopefully you can see. Let me take that off because I'm a bit worried about it. It's all coming together very nicely. As I say, the underside's all looking very nice. All the bits and pieces in on the top and coming through. So with any luck, by the time I get back to you guys this afternoon, we should be in a position where that is actually painted. Might not do the mottling because I want to get, to be honest, multiple cameras in here, so I'm probably going to do it on the bench so you can see a little bit better rather than in the spray booth, because trying to show mottling freehand is one of those things where if you get a head in the way or something's in the way, it's going to ruin the effect. So I'm thinking multiple cameras, multiple angles, so you can see exactly how to do it. So you could use templates, which isn't a problem. We were going to speak about that. We're going to show about masking it down there and obviously freehanding it. Because of the scale, 1/32 lends itself particularly well to being done by freehand, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to freehand this guy and go right the way through. But so far so good, and have to say, even though I've just gone and spent 160 euros on paint, these Model Air ones, the new ones, are working flawlessly well, to the point where I was putting this paint down and it's a really hot warm day today, and I haven't actually used any retarder, which I thought I would. You know, temperature in here, I don't know what it is actually in here, it's got to be around about 27-30 degrees in here. No problem at all. It flawlessly flowed, no jamming, no spitting, no nasties or anything else like that, so working really well. So anyway, we are well on board with this one. It's coming together really much very nicely. So what I'm going to do, let me crack on with it now, get that blue section all done, get that toned in, blended, and then obviously mottled in a little bit. And then what we can do is have it all ready for the actual proper mottling tomorrow when we actually go in and do the blotchiness, all of that. Then we can seal it, decal it, and then we can weather it. Okay, so as you can see, really busy day, and as you can see down here, we have really pushed on with this one. We've got it basically together. It's looking very much the part. Very happy how it's come in. The only thing I have noticed, I don't know if you can spot on camera, I've got the overhead going as well. I've got a little bit of white showing through. This is that surface detail when it's peeled off. Am I glad I spent the time to learn, master and buy even re-riveting tools of Rosie the Riveter, because I have visions now. Can you imagine it? You'd have masked up the wings for touching up the blue on the sides, and then literally peeled it off and taken all the rivets with it. They are extremely fragile, and don't forget they went down onto a primer. They went down best case scenario everywhere, but I've still managed to tear a little bit and on some of the edges around this one, so you do have to be extremely careful with it. The other thing I'll just mention as well, you'll see it all on film, but I have remasked this now with the correct masks, not the inside, use the outside ones, and they fitted perfectly. So big apologies to GHW for saying theirs was wrong, because it's not, it was user error as always. Okay, but there we go. So that one is really coming on now. So tomorrow what we're going to do is get all 5 cameras over here, and I'm going to show you how I do the modeling freehand. Now we're doing it with acrylic. It's extremely hot, it's 30 degrees in here today, and we didn't use a retarder using the Vallejo paint, so I'm quite happy to give a go with those. But we will show you about making up a paper template, about actually doing a the metal templates that we got for this. Personally, I'm going to do it freehand. It's quicker and easier, to be honest, but we show about obviously weathering it in, fading it slightly back, and then what we're going to do is give it a light sand over just to weather all this down just a little bit, seal it, we can get on with the decals, and then I'm really thinking by Thursday and Friday we should have the engines installed onto this. We'll have it up on its gear and pretty much done. I am going to spend a lot of time using the oils to weather this. This is what this one's going to be all about. It's going to be having an oil weathering job on this solely right the way through. As I say, don't normally do it, like to play with it, like to have a learn with it. So we've got all these great 502 oils in, so we're going to give a whirl with that one. So that'll probably be next week right the way through, but it will be together and all done as a whole by the end of the week. So really going on well there. So up on the site now for today, you're going to have obviously all about the new computer, the HTC headset. Now originally I did redo this in one part, but the trouble is the quality of the first part wasn't very good because I had to yank it back off of YouTube, and when you do that you can only get it off in 720 instead of 1080. So what I've done is I've done it in 2 parts, so they're both in high quality. You can see all about it. Now if this is something you're interested in and you'd like to see more of, perhaps me showing you about the flight simming, the other side of it and the various bits and pieces, then shoot me up and perhaps we'll set up a new section in the actual forum for it, and we can do it. But if you're not that really interested, that's not a problem, because really that's not what we're about here. That's just my hobby, if you like, versus doing this as my job, which sounds really weird because it's my hobby as well. But anyway, so there we go, so there's that. So there's plenty up on the site to see and do today, and what I'm going to do is this will probably be a big chunk. I'm going to do probably 1 hour parts of this, because we've already shown doing the paintwork to this stage. That's technically almost an hour, and then we're going to obviously show an hour about the modelling, so we're going to put all of that in one. So I might do one as basic paint and showing you do the fadey technique, and trust me, to do the fadey work like that, just to go around and do that, is like 2 minutes work. It's really simple, very straightforward, but we'll show about that one, and then in the next part I'll be solely about the modelling and how to do the modelling effect on it and the different styles and techniques you can use for it. But needless to say, this is really pushing on now, really got it good. As I say, I've done all the gear, all the bits and pieces, so once this paintwork's done and the weathering's on, we can actually just bolt this thing together and we are literally good to go. So it might not look it, but actually there's not much left to do on this one. Anyway, today is a bit of an anniversary. It is 4 years to the day that I started filming in this studio. Now, a bit of a history lesson here. As I said, I've had a checkered past. I am a bit of a jippo because moved around quite a bit just before this. So we went from quite a big loft studio I had in my old house. Then obviously when I moved in with Mel, I moved into a box room which was 6x5. Then we went into another one which was 9x8, which is the same size as down in there, which is quite amped really. And then, but 4 years ago, we moved to this house purely to do this job. You know, we didn't need it, but we needed the space, we needed the studio and the office upstairs. So that's why we moved from Torquay to where we are now. Now, the whole point was we had a designed studio just for what we needed. So that's why it ended up being this particular shape. So we had workstations, we had a computer station over there. We had a way that we could have technically 4 people working comfortably around this desk, 3 with loads of room. But we, as you know from the live shows, we can get a lot more in here if needed. and the spray booth with proper extractor system fitted in that vented clean out the wall instead of going out of windows and everything else we did it before. So it was quite a memorable occasion. Now, this was back in 2013 and we weren't actually on YouTube then, we were still using our own server when we did it. So this was from part one of the actual doing the I've got to think of it now, the actual Hawk video build. So it's the first time in the studio and boy, what a difference. Hello, welcome to Flory Models, I'm Philip Flory. This week's particular build we're going to be doing is the Revell 1/32 scale Hawk. Now, readily available for years now in 172 and 148 recently, and now we've actually got a nice big 1/32 kit to go along with it. So yes, it was big and echoey in there because there was nothing in there. It was literally there was no stash. I think I had about 10 kits in my stash back then. It was terrible. But also because we had the office upstairs, my stash used to live upstairs. We didn't have the display cabinets. We had one just tucked down in the corner, and it really was odd. I know a lot of people were saying about the audio was fantastic, but listening to it there, it was terrible compared to what we have now with proper mics and various things. And the only thing we don't need is soundproofing, because as we all know, I've got my own. It's called a stash and walls of kits, models and paints, which are perfect for soundproofing because the place is just chocker full of, well, gear really at the end of the day. As I said, next week, next weekend, I am probably going to pull this all apart, weather permitting, if it's good, which it should be. I'm going to stick it all out on the deck and I'm going to clean through absolutely everything and then bring things in and find a home for things. If you're looking over my shoulder, we've even started labelling the drawers now so I know what's in it, because I always open the wrong drawer. You go to it, so we've actually got that. It says screwdrivers, small tools, masking tapes, scratch building, big tools, cables, paints, airbrushing, screws and fixings. It's all there now as I need them, so I can find them a lot easier. But I do want to declutter, sort out a lot of this. A lot of the other bits and pieces can go up to the office upstairs because we've got a bit more room up there now, and everything else like that. So there we go, that is it for today. Go off and look at virtual reality, see what you think about it. If you've got one, let me know how you get on with it. Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think I'm right? Do you think it's overpriced? Do you think it's not really for serious gamers, it's more just for the fun aspect? You know, let me know your thoughts and everything else like that. So there we go, guys, that's it for me today. Tomorrow, don't forget, it's Tuesday's Q&As. I know we only just did one on Saturday, but we've still got lots. I've got a lot in my personal one. I don't know if Steve has as well, but Steve will be joining me tomorrow afternoon. We'll probably do it live. The computer seems to be behaving itself and everything else like that. So if you want to watch us live, probably around about 2 o'clock we'll start streaming live, but it does tend to change if we've got phone calls and life things get in the way. But we always do it Tuesday afternoon, so you can watch us live, either, you know, obviously on the main site, in the forum, or obviously via our YouTube page as well. It'll stream it. So if you're not a subscriber to us on YouTube, just subscribe, and then what happens is if we ever do anything live, you'll be sent an email, or if you're on YouTube at the time, you'll be sent a little link that will come over. It says I'm live and everything else like that. So there we go. So that's it from me. Happy modelling, guys. Take care, and I'll catch you all tomorrow.